Xin mời tất cả các speaker chúng ta ready để có thể chuẩn bị cho cái phần section webinar sáng hôm nay. Và bây giờ là 10 giờ sáng. Good morning everyone. I'm Jessica from MMA Vietnam. Xin thân chào tất cả các anh chị đã dành thời gian để tham dự chương trình webinar sáng ngày hôm nay cùng với MMA. Và đây là một trong những hoạt động webinar đầu tiên trong năm 2022 với mong muốn MMA sẽ mang lại rất nhiều những cái thông tin hữu ích mà thị trường đang cần thiết, cũng như đặc biệt là sự lưu tâm của tất cả các nhà tiếp thị tại thị trường Việt Nam. Và với cái series về brand safety này, nó sẽ là một trong những cái series về webinar rất là đặc biệt, tại vì MMA sẽ dành rất nhiều công sức, cũng như sẽ có rất nhiều những cái nội dung hay và rất nhiều các speaker từ nhiều công ty tham gia trong topic này. And this morning, so we have three speakers joining us. So please welcome them for the very first brand safety webinar today. Thank you so much for all the speakers to joining us. First of all, I would like to thank you, Mr. Corina Lương from RTB House, Mr. Mạnh Hà, Digital Hot Lead from Unilever Vietnam, and Mr. Amit Thakur, Managing Partner from MyShare. Hello, everyone. Are you ready?
Yes, exciting for that.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. And thank you, especially thank you all to delegates who joining us this morning webinar. Okay, so in order to start the webinar, let me go through the agenda this morning. We will have a short introduction about MMA, and I will over to you about information about the speaker and especially our moderator for the section today as well. We have a short discussion at the panel, some Q&A from each of you, and closing. So I think it's very short. And within 60 minutes, we will have a lot of information to go through. And this is, I think, very familiar slide that maybe you know so far when you join the MMA webinar. MMA ở thị trường global đó các bạn thì đã có hơn 20 năm rồi, và thành viên của MMA thì có mặt ở trên 40 quốc gia khác nhau. Ở phần này thì tất cả các anh chị đã quen thuộc khi mà tham dự các chương trình webinar của MMA trong suốt gần 10 năm qua. Và đây là thông tin về MMA tại Việt Nam. Chúng tôi có hơn 60 thành viên từ rất nhiều cái lĩnh vực và nhóm ngành nghề khác nhau. Chúng tôi cũng mong muốn là mình sẽ có nhiều những thành viên mới và những cái đối tác mới trong tương lai để làm sao có thể xây dựng mạnh mẽ hơn hệ sinh thái modern marketing tại thị trường Việt Nam. And this is one of very special things that I want to share with all of you, but I know that as an MMA member, and you know, MyShare is our board member, Unilever's board member, so RTB is our Fusion's member. So I think it is very important for each of you to have a lot of opportunity to explore with the MMA cross over the world, not just for Vietnam. So we are looking forward and welcome each of you if you want to really be the part of the ecosystem of modern marketing in Vietnam. That this is one of very special series that we designed for MMA member only. And yesterday we conduct very successful the very first member meetup. Ngày hôm qua đó các bạn, chúng tôi đã chia sẻ về social commerce và live streaming ở thị trường Việt Nam, một số những thông tin về Martech, kinh nghiệm làm sao có thể implement được Martech journey tại thị trường Việt Nam thông qua chia sẻ của Unilever. Đó là những thông tin rất là hay. Và cứ 2 tháng một lần MMA sẽ tổ chức rất nhiều các sự kiện như thế này chỉ dành riêng cho các thành viên của MMA ở thị trường Việt Nam. Những topic về Metaverse, NFT hay Web3 sẽ là một trong những cái topic rất là mới mẻ mà chúng ta đều rất là quan tâm. Và đây là những cái key activities mà MMA sẽ tập trung trong năm 2022. Như các anh chị thấy là chúng tôi sẽ có khoảng hơn 15 cái webinar được thực hiện trong năm nay. Chúng tôi sẽ có một cái sự kiện đầu tiên về Martech. CEO CMO Summit, nó là một cái sự kiện lớn thường niên mà MMA hay thực hiện. MMA Impact cũng như vậy, giải thưởng Smarty, chương trình đào tạo, cũng như tất cả các hoạt động khác. And right now I would like to focus on the brand safety series. So this is already the first one, but actually we have more to come with a lot of very exciting information from different participation from speakers across Southeast Asia, not just for Vietnam. And we are looking for some advisory member for this council as well, so we can learn along the webinar with some white paper and report for Vietnam market. Ở cái phần slide này thì Bích Tông sẽ come back lại ở phần cuối, đó là tham gia vô cái brand safety survey. Cái mã QR code này các anh chị sẽ dành thời gian cuối chương trình để có thể tham gia cùng với MMA. Link survey sẽ được gửi qua tất cả các anh chị thông qua chat. Tất cả các anh chị có thể tham gia survey và mình sẽ có cơ hội nhận một món quà rất là dễ thương từ MMA ha. Ở phần này thực sự MMA cũng rất cần sự hỗ trợ của tất cả các anh chị tham gia, đặc biệt là trong buổi sáng ngày hôm nay. Và để tương tác với speaker của chúng ta thì các anh chị có thể đặt câu hỏi thông qua phần Q&A ngay trên các platform. Và tất cả những câu hỏi này chúng tôi có thể trả lời live hoặc có thể trả lời sau cuối chương trình. Okay. Right now, I don't want to let you wait more. We have to welcome very special moderator for the very first section about the brand safety, Mr. Amit Thakur, managing partner from MyShare. So he is the moderator for the manual today. He also be able to tell the story and support our speaker with the presentation. Over to you, Amit, and welcome.
Awesome, great. Thank you, Jessica, for the introduction for myself and for the session as well. Right, welcome everyone to the session about brand safety in the cookieless world. Right, so I'm sure some of us have debated, worked, or managed, brand safety conversations at some point of time, and hence have a fair understanding of what brand safety is all about. So focusing on specific points regarding brand safety in the cookieless world, right? And that's the context that I would like to first set. So as the practice of brand safety evolves, we stay focused on 3 points, right? Avoiding financial, reputational, and legal risk in digital marketing realm or communications, right? As the custodian of brands and as media experts and managing its visibility in digital media, we drive the sum total of this model to create and protect consumer trust. In practice, what are we doing? The nuts and bolts of generating that trust falls into 3 operational categories, right? Which is investing wisely, protecting the positive brand equity, and treating consumers fairly and equally, right? And that's how we create a brand safe environment. Now, shifting gears to focus on the future cookieless world, talking about that, while the death of the third-party cookie has been generating a lot of conversations and a lot of public attention, it is only a part of a broader transformation that the industry is going to go through, right? And the industry has already started looking into different solutions to continue to reach the right consumers in the optimized media spend and in the right environment, right? Many of them rely on more privacy-friendly solutions like the clean room environment, secure environments in which no granular data is possible, and that's sort of the clean room environment, or maybe some more innovative machine learning techniques, right? Like federating, which is federated learning, and applying machine learning models to consumer data without leaving the device, right? So we are still in a zone where the digital landscape is very rapidly evolving, within which our endeavor as industry leaders to create a brand safe environment where the brands can engage with the consumers and give enough room to the publishers in order to create engaging content. And while we do that, we are going to discuss today with some esteemed guests, and who better to discuss these conversations with me today from representing the largest advertiser in the country, Unilever. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ha from Unilever.
Yeah, thanks, Amit. And thanks everyone for joining the topic today. And I wish you have the health that is very important for this time, and health and be safe with your family. So relate to the topic that Amit mentioned today for the brand safety. So you know that the cookieless world is coming and the third-party cookie is eliminated. So from the point of view of the advertiser, so what we can do, and honestly with you, we know that will be more restricted on the privacy. So in the brand safety, the brand is very important and is a precious asset in Unilever. So we need to keep the brand safety is the highest level of the standard. However, in order to do the brand safety, we also need to take care about the ad reach. So we also need to reach to the right consumer with the right contents and relevant to them. So that is the very important point, and that is a mission we need to do. And you know that after the COVID, the consumer behaviors in the digital is changing very fast. So many touch points, and they can consume the media in every touch point, and that is rapid, and it's multiple very, very much. So in this brand safety, I want to highlight the one thing is most important, that is about the fake news. So you know that the brand safety technologies currently we can avoid about the crimes, the illegals, about terrorists, or anything that Amit mentioned, but how we can do that with the fake news. So the fake news that is a new, but it's fake. So the content is there. It's also that how we do with the machine learning or AIs that can be help us in order to identify what is the fake news, what is not, in order to protect our brand safety. So in this case, I want to introduce also Corina from RTB House, who will help us in order to know more about the technology behind in order to accelerate the brand safety. So over to you, Corina.
Thank you, Anha, and thank you, Amit. Good morning, everyone. So I'm very happy to join like the session today with all the top, with Anha, the top like advertiser, and also like Amit, part of like Mindshare. So so basically like I'm representing RTB House. We are like the top like AdTech, MarTech like company that we provide a full funnel solution like for brands and advertiser. And as part of the top, tech partner, I think it's very important to be on the top of all the innovations and also like new technology. So I'm like happy to share like from our like point of view how we are ready and getting ready for the cookieless future, and how that combined with the brand safety. So let's start.
Yep. So great. Thank you, Ha, for that short note on how you view as an advertiser from a brand safety lens in a cookieless world, right? And thank you, Karina, for again sharing a few things from your side. So let me kickstart the discussion today, and taking a leaf from what Anha mentioned in terms of how they see or perceive brand safety. Corina, I'm coming to you first to understand from a platform owner perspective, what do you see or how do you see brand safety evolving? And what are the measures that you think or challenges rather first that you see coming across when you engage with media experts such as us, or managing brands from advertisers such as Ha?
I think that there are many like challenges, especially nowadays in the last 2 years. There are many things like happening around like the world, right? With the COVID, with the political issues and so on. So we as a tech partner, I think like we have like to be able to provide like those like answer for the advertiser. And obviously with the new like trend and like inevitable like changes around that everyone knows about the cookieless future that's built like that Google's talking, and the future is approaching, so in 2023. So I think that in this webinar I'd like to share more about like how we are ready for this new future.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So sorry.
Yeah. So with that, do you want to share more about what are the industry bodies that you want to collaborate with, and any of the challenges that you want to surface so that we pick up from there and understand how we can manage brands better?
Sure. So I mean, without looking at the definition, I think that everyone knows, right, about brand safety. If not, I mean, then just ask yourself, is like a question like, would you like that your brand will appear next to a content which is, either like illegal, like drug-related content, or also dangerous, for example, like pornography or violence? I guess, and I hope that all the answer is no. And yeah, obviously there are many like partners, number of business group that are like contributing to this like brand safety and, you know, definition and like measuring. So like interactive like advertising bureau, or the tag like trustworthy accountability group, or MRC and so on. So basically what they define like a common like a definition is that brand safety basically is a set of measures that aim to protect the image and reputation of the brands from the negative or damaging influence when you advertise like online. So now let's so here there are like some examples of, I'm sorry. So now let's have a quick quiz. If
Yes. So as
everyone
Jessica
to wake up.
mentioned, as Jessica mentioned in the introduction, that we'll have some quiz and opportunities for people to answer, win some goodies.
Yes. So the first quiz, I think you'll have it like on your screen. Yeah. So the question is like, which among following are the industry bodies governing brand safety? So you have to click on the right one.
Let's give a few seconds for people to do that, and then we'll continue with. Okay, great.
Okay, so we have 30 seconds. Okay, I will end the bone and show the result for people to see.
Okay, and we'll see the results right away. Oh,
yes,
awesome.
Here immediately.
Brilliant.
So do you want to say something, Corina, Amit, about this one?
I think IAB is the most popular one. I'm happy to see TTD and BLS also being answered there.
Okay.
But yeah, the right answer was MRC and IAB, the two bodies that we all work with, advertisers as well as media experts as well as platform owners.
Very good. Okay, so I stop sharing the bone. Okay, you continue.
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
Who answered like TTD and BLS? I'll show you some examples of brand safety. So hopefully it will be. So the first example, basically, there's as you can see in this, like screenshot, there's a barbecue like ad next to a like very horrifying news about the death of the baby. Yeah, it's very tragic, but it can happen. So it's in like in US, it says that, a couple has been accused by trying to cremate like their dead kid's body on a barbecue grill. And because the articles is like using this word like grilling, basically like based on that we have like an ad showing about like the grill, like the grill, like advertising grilling competitions, which is not very good. Another example, less tragic, is like about like, you can see here like how retirement planning for childless couples is different. And next to that article, we have like an advertiser for people who might be interested in buying like kids strollers, which is not the case for this. So the question is, it is like, I think it's like unlikely that the person reading this article will also like be interested in buying this, in buying the product.
Yeah, actually, this example that you show, you've touched upon a very interesting point, Karina, because you touched upon the brand suitability part here, right? So even if it's brand safe environment, the content may not be brand suitable, and that's what I think you're trying to mention here. So may I take and move focus for a moment to Ha, and Ha, do you want to share your views on how do you see brand safety versus brand suitability?
Yeah, so Amit, like I mentioned previously, you see that is exactly that the case that I want to explain. So about the suitable. So you see that the brand safety is here. Let's say that example that is all meet the standard of brand safety, but however, the contextual, the suitability of the content is not relevant with the brand. Okay. So in this case, you know that we cannot use all the things like the human checks, or even that we have some custom checklist in order to define what is a good brand safety, but the brands will be in this case. So in this case, I think that we also need to have some innovations on how we can apply the AI, machine learning, and also the natural language processing in order to detect in some very specific case in this one. So that is my views on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And yes, completely agree with you, because how are we defining a space, as Corina, you mentioned about brand safety versus brand suitability, is interesting for a lot of advertisers as well as people like us who manage the brand visibility in digital media, because it still will have an impact even if it's a brand safe environment. But ad not being shown in a suitable environment will still have an impact on how the ad is perceived or how the ad is seen, right? I think we have again a small quiz coming up for everybody who just heard this conversation. Why don't we move to the next one? Yes.
So the second quiz will answer to this question, right? Like, do you think that brand safety and brand suitability means the same?
Is this a very easy question, Corina?
Let's see.
Okay, so okay, 3 more seconds. Okay, so I will set it this down now. Yeah.
Awesome. I think almost everybody got it right. That's brilliant. So good. I think we now have a sense of what governing bodies that we collaborate with from a brand safety environment lens, and how do we differentiate between brand safety versus brand suitability. Corina, why don't you share more with us about how you see Vietnam as a market specifically evolving when it comes to these, and what challenges have we seen until now?
Sure. So let me share like a bit the status of brand safety in Vietnam. And I think that everyone would recognize like this event that happened in 2019. Actually, like Vietnam was ranked, like it's ranked like one of the like most risk like harmful like content in Southeast Asia, according to VN Express. And in 2019, there's been like some issues with YouTube content. So basically there have been like some videos containing like full history about Vietnam or some anti-government like message. So hence the brands were like requested to stop the advertising. So obviously the brand's reputation were also like suffer. So I think like this is just one of the example, but I think that nowadays, like especially in the last 2 years, as we mentioned, with all the things that happening around the world with the COVID-19 and also with all the political issues, I think this is important and also like one of the like top priority for advertiser. So here, for example, it's like an example for how, like an example of CNN News that covering how a lion was killed because a new state law. Actually, this article doesn't contain any negative content, but as you can see, the page has no ads on it because they use like the word killed, which is like seems like negative. While, however, there's another news about like penguins with no keywords like this that they have like all the ad placement on the website. So yeah.
So in that case, we and it's an interesting one again, Corina, that you have cited, and we do come across these challenges when we are setting up campaigns for brands, let's say from our partners, advertisers. So is one of the solutions that a lot of people from the industry keep talking about is blocking, blocking certain kind of content, blocking certain sites or portals. But we do it sometimes quite aggressively, such that it prohibits ads being appearing in certain environment, which may be fine for them to do it. So is blocking a lot of portals or content one of these solutions still, or is something better that we can work out with?
Yeah, so I agree with you, like from point of view of the publisher, obviously like excessive, like, like keywords restriction may, also like limit the inventory, and also it, like it can, and also like the publisher, like brand equity is at risk, even though it's like CNN news, like very like famous like channels, it's also like important, like to, I don't know, either for them like to choose the right word, and for the, like, partners to be able like to identify the context and not only the keywords. So let's see, next, do you have anything to add, Amit, in here? Or?
No, that should be fine. So I would want to then see and get our view as we move forward into understanding that if we know, we understood about brand safety, brand suitability, then we understood about what are the challenges and some of the ways in which these get violated, and hence brands are at risk. And one of the ways or solutions that we observe is taking out certain portals, website content where the brand should not appear, ads should not appear, right? But we would want to hence move towards a point where how can we evolve ourselves and work closely to actually not prohibit or delist a lot of content which may still be suitable, which may still not put so much pressure on the publishers, and what technologies are upcoming in the future which could be leveraged to do that.
Yeah. So I mean, on this point, that I think that the best way is the collaboration between the advertiser, publisher, and also the martech and or adtech company in order to devise that is what is the right solution. So if you see that if we still keep the brand safety versus with the ad reach, and we have the ad blocks based on the keywords, and you also image that in the cookie-less world, the ad block maybe is not blocked by the publisher, it's also blocked by the consumer. So we have the double layer. So how we can reach more to consumer? So that is the big challenging. So I think that maybe Corina, she can comes with some solution. That's how we can tackle that. Maybe it's not perfect one, but it can the best that we can do for the cookie-less world now.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for I think those are very valid comments. And let's see if Corina, you have something to share on those lines as a future technology.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your point of view, because as a tech partner, we also like, like keep our ears and eyes like open, and trying to adapt to, like advertiser like demand, and also like to be able to enable the technology to provide the solutions. So I'll share like, yeah, so basically from a technology point of view, what we can do like to keep your brands like safe in a cookie-less like world. So, okay, it's just like a funny question. Do you think that's like, double protection or like triple protection is like better than just protection? Well, I would say it depends. But I'll share with you like what multi-layer like security mechanism means, and how it can prevent like your ads from being served to the website that may have a negative effect on your brand. So first of all, we'll have like the first layer of SSP and third-party solutions, like for example, Google Play Protect. So basically these layers will filter any illegal or offensive like websites. They are also able to detect and block pages that contain like malware or phishing content. Going on the second layer, basically we'll have like an offensive like content layer, which is like an internal layer that it's activated like automatically. Basically this layer will check like the offensive like content across all the verticals, and can also like block non-brand safety websites and in-app publisher. On the top of the second layer, we have which we call it like a branding layer. Basically, it's a brand safety panel. It's an internal like panel, and it's also like customizable for the users, for the advertiser. So basically, in this like brand safety like panel is based on the same engine as the contextual AI, which helps to properly categorize each articles, for example. Basically, it is able to understand the broad context of each article's language and also its URL. For example, with the context AI, you can reach like users interested in cars. However, at the brand safety like panel, you can avoid like unwanted like context, such as accidents, car accidents, for example. Also like this layer, it is able like to block like custom websites, content like app inventory or not allowed traffic where the advertiser, they don't want to be displayed. And how all those like layers are working, it's based on the new technology. So basically context AI and using like natural language like processing. So what context AI does? So context AI can scan, it can like process and can evaluate like content on the web with a high precision, and it's can do it in a faster way as well. With the natural language processing, basically it can help you to recognize the unwanted like words, sentences, phrases, or even like context or images and graphics. Both of them actually can combine, can combine like effort in order to help brands to easily create like a brand safe like environment. Also ensuring the ads to appear on the correct like websites, which are not associated to toxic like messages or harmful environment. Going forward, we'll have here like an example of like an ad, like for example, there's like a billion garments discarded as workers, they are like toiled in swap shops. So obviously the advertiser, they're not willing to be visible next to any news that's related to those kind of like controversial like content. With context AI and natural language like processing, advertiser, they can avoid like the potential, like PR embarrassment.
Great. I think then we have a quiz coming up.
I don't know if there's any questions. I think that people, they can just put in the Q&A and we'll answer after. But just to test quickly, let's say your knowledge, we have another quiz. So the question is multi-layer security has following like layers. There are like 3.
And you may choose the right answer of which is a combination of those 3 layers.
Yes.
This is quite a challenge, is it?
I think if you're following
I'm not sure about the answer. I'm not really sure. Okay, we have a 3-4 second. Okay, so I will stop Born and set a result. Okay, what did you think? Amit, Corina?
That's awesome.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Awesome?
Yeah, most
Very
of the
good.
people, they got it.
Option 1
Very
is the
good.
first right answer, and I think most of the people have got it right. So
You
great,
have to
great.
prepare more gifts, Jessica.
Not worry, we have very many gifts here waiting. Don't worry.
And I think
Everyone's
it's a
answered.
good sign because that really shows that people are involved. They're listening to this conversation. And thank you everyone at this stage for being involved and listening, and look forward to interacting with you more towards the end. But yes, so until now we have understood and Corina in discussion with you that what brand safety means, how it's differentiated with brand suitability, what industry bodies are we working with, and what are those examples of we see as challenges from a brand safety point, right? Let's shift our gears a bit and understand that we are all moving towards a cookieless world very soon, and the journey has started, right? There are parts of the globe where which has already evolved. The governments and government bodies have evolved into restricting or rather favoring the privacy of the consumers, of the people in large, right? So when we move towards a world like that, do we feel that that world in the digital realm will be much less safer for the brands, right? And that's I would want to have maybe a starting view from you, and then Corina to understand from you of whether some of the solutions that we saw earlier in the conversation are they robust enough, to be leveraged in an environment when we will not have cookies helping us to track where our ads can appear? With you first.
So Amit, that is the top question. So in the future, you know that the third-party cookie is eliminated, and the biggest browser for the consumer they browse every day is Chrome, and now the third-party cookies is eliminated. So it means that there is some inventories they relies on the third-party cookies will also cannot track to consumer. So
That's
it will
right.
be that is we will scale down the inventory from the advertiser and also publisher. We
Right.
cannot reach more consumer, and in that case, actually I don't have the right answer right now, but
Yep, that's okay.
yeah. But, that if we look at in the positive ways, so in the third-party cookie eliminate, so I think that the privacy is one thing that we respect. So now the consumer they have the right in order to control what they can let the publisher track them. So in that case, for the brand safety, I also think that house we also like Corina mentions, we have the layers that we call first party data. So in the first party data, how we can analyze, how we can predict what the consumer consume the contents in the medias, and how we can do the contextual in order to have the content relevant to them. And then I also think that that is the future ways. We not rely on the third-party cookie. We focus on how we can enrich and analyze on the first-party data, include the first-party cookie. So
Great.
how the views, Amit?
Yeah, I think those are very valid points. So I completely understand how from what you're mentioning is some of the ways in which these things can go forward in future is to understand what publishers can do better, for sure, what platform owners and advertise serving team members can do better in terms of reaching out to consumers using their technology, which is making a safer environment. And advertisers like you who spend a significant amount of money in the digital advertising space are building your own infrastructure to understand and recognize consumers through your first party data, right? And a combination of these is what is going to help us reach out to them in the cookieless world. So thank you, Hai, and that's really helpful understanding from the advertiser's view. Corina, moving back to you, and we saw that you did have a solution under the belt that you showed from a machine learning point of view. And how robust would it be when we move to this stage where cookies will no more be available for us to connect with our consumers?
Yeah, so actually I'm very happy to hear like from Anha, like what he shared, because we have like the same like point of view about like cookies, right? I mean, it's not that cookies are harmful. I mean, cookies, I think they're essential for the like modern internet in general, but at the same time, it can, you know, like damage your like own privacy as a consumer. So what we can do, you know, in order like to protect this and in order to deliver efficiently, you know, like the right ad, the right like message to the consumer. So basically, like as I mentioned before, one of the like advice that we are giving is like, okay, we can use like contextual AI, which doesn't rely on the third-party cookies. Basically, it can allow, you know, like brands to use the first-party data and to be able like to deliver the right message. So I think like as advertiser, I think that they should adopt like a multi-layer, like the brand safety like mechanism to protect like from the undesired like contents and so on. So an advanced, you know, like brand safety like mechanism, they will incorporate like a context AI technology and also combine with the natural language like processing that will allow you to analyze and understand the context of the web page in order to make sure that you know your ads will be displayed at the right place and also to the correct target audience. So yeah, so this is my point of view.
Awesome. So that's helpful, and I think we are now at least starting as a combination of advertisers raising those challenges, as you rightly raised, and also not just raising the challenge but also doing your bit to create some journey in able to reach out to consumers in future better through your first party data. And Corina, from the platform owners such as yours, what tech can be used or better leverage in future going forward, right? So if we move forward, in order to understand hence how these tech has been helping us until now and what do we see specifically doing in future, and contextual targeting, contextual AI targeting, where machine learning helps understand what's the content on the portal, on the website that we are connecting the consumers with, right? And help us eliminate a lot of challenges that we saw from the brand safety, brand suitability point. So
yeah, so I think we kind of like cover already this slide in your like previous like questions. So just a resume. So I think that the context AI, has come back to the like marketing industry, and also combined with the advanced and cutting edge like technologies like deep learning, for example, context AI is able to process like all types of like contents in the web page. Also, it does not rely on cookies. So that means that it's ready for the like cookieless like future. And combining with natural language like processing, it is also able to identify, like unwanted like content. Also, combined with like the privacy like sandbox, it's we can create like a tailored like brand safety and contextual like targeting strategy. So
great.
This, I think, there will be the future. I don't know if you guys have any other ideas. Feel free to share. I'm happy to listen and to learn more.
Awesome. No, I think those are helpful. Those are helpful for sure. This is one of the ways in which we also see solutions coming up forth in order to tackle better the brand safety challenges. And if we move ahead in the slide, we will let me try and summarize into what could be those key areas around which we will continue to have these conversations of brand safety, right? So as policy shifts continue to happen, the different parts of the globe evolve into recognizing the benefits for the consumers, possibly moving away from the benefits that platforms enjoy today or advertisers enjoy today, right? And hence stricter norms for all of us in the advertising space to be followed. COVID-19, right? 2 years back, none of us even discussed this when it came to brand safety, when it came to brand suitability, but now it's part of our lives and it's possibly going to stay with us for some time, right? And that has led to the surge in fake news as well. So Ha mentioned this at the beginning of the conversation of how advertisers as his see these as challenges, right? And fake news are a big chunk of brand suitability kind of advertising issues that we saw at the beginning, Corina, that you showcased some of the examples. So, but however, keeping in mind that we will continue to face these challenges, the fourth point that I wanted to touch upon and sort of in the summary is that are we doing too much? Are we doing too much of the brand safety part, right? Are we giving enough space for the brand to be seen and engage with the consumers? Are we giving enough space to publishers to be able to come up with content that's still edgy, right? That's still exciting enough to engage with the audience and consumers who they interact with, right? But if they are allowed to do that, how do we still create an environment where brands give the right message, are seen, or brand message is seen in the right light, in the right environment, right? And with that, if the cookies were a big support for all of us in the last almost a decade or so, to be able to judge the content, to be able to reach out to the consumers in the right manner or more accurately. And with those fading away, we rely further upon the technologies of AI. We rely further upon how AI can help understand and learn about the websites or the portals or the content where the brand is getting advertised, right? Maybe there's a technology. I just hope that in future which can recognize, which has face recognition, maybe even on videos, and has a way to say whether that's a brand safe or brand suitable environment for the brand to appear. And we love the solutions, Corina, that you shared today on the machine learning and how it can still give us a solution away from depending on cookies, right? So with that, we come towards the last part of the discussion today. I would once again come back to you for last comments that you would want to have on this topic.
Yeah, so Amit, I think that slide is also consolidates what the topic we want to discuss. We also discuss along the science. So the COVID-19 give us also the challenge and opportunity. So the consumer, they consumes media is many touch point. So in that case, we can easy to reach the consumer in the digital world, but also how we can balance between that and also our brand safety. And the second point that about the fake news, you see that you mentioned about the deepfake videos, maybe is how we can detect the fake news is still the challenge. So you know that the deepfake and fake news, we cannot identify that properly. So in that case, when Corina mentioned about the context AI, so I want to highlight the point that if you want the context AIs work better for you, what you need to do, the most important that you feed them the data for their learning. So the data that they're learning is not come only from the advertisers, not only come from the publisher. It should be the handshake between the publisher, the advertiser, and also the ad tech company in order to let them smarter. I think that's smarter and smarter in order to help us to detect those of things in order to help us save our brand safety. So I think that is the consolidate for the topic that we talked today, Amit.
Great. Those are very valid comments. Thank you, for those last comments and in a way summarizing of what we discussed today. Corina, any last comments from you as still the ones that we all rely on as advertisers and as media experts to help us create an environment which is much brand safer?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on us, but at the same time, it's also like challenging. I think like as a tech like partner, we have to be always, like on the top and being able to adapt to all the changes like in the world. Like 3 years ago, maybe, everyone's like building data, like saving like cookies. So there's like no questions of, like a cookie-less world. And as you say, right, there's like no COVID. At the same time, as we mentioned about like the brand suitability, sometimes those kind of content might not be, we cannot say that it's negative because it's part of our life now, but at the same time, you have to know, like the right context and what to advertise, for example. So I think, yeah, for us, it's also a challenge, but hopefully the technology will, allow us like to, like filter like the fake news as well. I think like so far, like we can, what we can do is like to analyze like content, images, and so on. With the fake news, it's a bit tricky. So it's a good, like point that you mentioned, but it's also like very personal, like what is fake, what is not fake from different point of view. So yeah. I think hopefully technology will be smarter than us and will be able like to, even like filter. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So thank you so much for that. And I think we are almost at the end of our session today and just in time to possibly discuss some questions from the audience.
Yeah. So Amit, you can find some questions in the Q&A box here, and some questions people send directly to host and the panelists. So we just have it around 5-6 questions there. I think you can flexible to take any questions that possible the speaker can answer. Okay.
All right. Great. Thank you, Jessica. So I think I see one question here, which mentions that one of you mentioned about anti-government content, which is, in my opinion, not about brand safety. As committed brands or companies for press freedom, what is your point of view that you may have to remove content for political reasons? How may I ask you to respond to that? Your views?
Yeah. So my views on that. you see the word that anti-governance. So I think that is a different perspective on the anti-governance here. So with the brand safety in Unilever, we want to give the highest level of brand safety to our brands and also with our consumer. So in that case, I cannot give the right or wrong answers on that, Amit.
Sure.
But with the standard from the Unilever, we want to keep away from some controversial discussion or controversial this topic. So that will be harmful for the brand. So in that case, I cannot say that is right or wrong.
Thank you. And I think I agree with you in terms of saying how each advertiser or brand is defining their space. So there are going to be set of priorities or content that definitely is common to all, called unsafe content, right? And then thereafter builds a layer where each brand decides their own space in which they don't want their brands to be seen, right? And that's where a gray area between brand safety versus brand suitability, right? And hence, as you mentioned about your brands taking a call to not be seen in certain environment related to political comments, then that's should be respected and followed, right? Okay, let me quickly move to the next question, which talks about how robust are the NLP technologies to look into Vietnamese language content. Corina, you want to take that up?
Yes. Actually, I don't know who put the question, but it's very interesting question, because that's what I was asking myself as well when I joined the company. Because Vietnamese language is one of the trickiest one, right? So basically with the deep learning like technology, so we are able to analyze also like inflection. So basically, I mean in English, right? Like if you put like a word like game, it can analyze and can cover like all the inflection, like gaming, gamers, and so on. And as my company is based in Poland, I think Polish language is also one of the most difficult language. There are so many ways of understanding a word and, analyzing the context or the words. It can, I mean, one word with different like accent it will kind of similar with Vietnamese language. So the answer is yes. It is still room for improving, obviously, yes, because even me as a Vietnamese, probably sometimes when I go to Hue or in other like regions, I don't understand like certain words. So of course, obviously there are like room for improving, but it can, like we can adapt to the Vietnamese language as well.
Awesome. So that sounds more promising. And hope for us when we advertise our brand. I think there's one more coming up. And I think, Corina, you could take that one as well. How we will hear from you if you have something to add, which is you mentioned about fake news, which is interesting. Thank you. Thanks a lot for raising it. What about all the comments seeding? That is unfortunately a common practice. These are not robot or click farms, but human factory or fake comments or fake reviews. How can you detect that, and how you're facing it in your daily marketing operation? So Corina, from the technology that we saw earlier in the conversation today, and you are able to recognize the contents of the portal, of the web page, but are you able to then also detect into those comments that come thereafter?
Yes, so basically like the difference with like deep learning technology, basically deep learning is a part of AI. So it's kind of like an artificial like brain, right? And a subsequent of AI is like machine learning. The difference between like deep learning and machine learning is that deep learning is able to analyze data and content like more than 2,000 times faster than machine learning. If you think about like one of the, industry that deep learning has been involved is like in the self-driving cars. So while machine learning is used in, let's say like parking, so you use machine learning in order to guide you to park. So, but it's still like human, like input. Deep learning on the other side, it's totally by machine. So we don't input. So this technology is basically is capable to analyze like much faster way, like data. So we can analyze, as I mentioned, like keywords, and not only keywords, we can analyze like phrases, sentences, making sure, context, and also images. So as you mentioned, there's like comments. So basically there will be like keywords like phrases. Yeah. So yes,
okay.
We can.
So you can look into that. That's again a good sign. In fact, just to build on that point, and thank you, Luke, for asking that question. But my view, building on to what Corina said, is there's also a role that each of these publishers play. a very important role, right? And the point that we discussed earlier about governing bodies creating norms, creating guidelines for everybody to follow includes these publishers, right? So more and more we are seeing that publishers themselves are playing that role of monitoring and tracking of what comments do they get for certain content that they place on their portal, right? And if they continue to do that religiously, trying to remove the malicious content and comments that come after their content, that is going to be a great help. So it's going to be a combination of everything in terms of understanding what platform owners can do, at the same time what publishers can do better and more in order to continue creating a safer content, right? Awesome. I think we just have one last one, that is there a view on difference in brand safety between web and in-app? Is one more risky than the other? And I think that's from Tarun, so we can take that up. Corina, you want to answer that?
Sure. So I think like in an app environment, it's already like a bit like safer than in web, because web is like open web and you use like cookies. So basically in app environment, all the app like publisher, you know, like before like putting the app on the Play Store, they have to follow certain like requirements, right? So I think like a difference in brand safety between app and web. Yes, there's a difference, because that's why I focus more on web, because we are talking about like cookies and they're like open web and you can like browse, you know, there's a lot of like user generated content and so on. While in app, basically, I mean, normally that, we don't have like user generated content, because once you get the app already in the App Store or, you know, iOS store, it's already gone through like different like filters. So
yeah. Thank you. Ha, you want to come in at this stage? Any last comments on this part of in-app versus web environment?
Yeah. So if you see that when you go to iOS and you download one app and the app asks you that do I allow for you to track on that? So I think that before the layer of the brand safety, we have some layer from also the developer and also the mobile provider. So I think that in-app is more less tricky than the web. And also you talk about the cookie-less, right? So when we don't have any cookies, so the app is maybe the positive future that we can look into.
Great. Thank you. I think that brings us towards the end of the session. We almost 2 minutes left. And at this stage, I would actually want to culminate into thanking, first of all, Ha, a lot for joining us today, sharing your views. We got to know a lot from an advertiser's lens such as yours and Unilever to know where you stand. What steps are you taking in terms of creating your own data points through first-party data to connect to consumers better, right? And thank you, Corina, for being with us today, sharing some of the future solutions that we could leverage for the brands in our country as well as in the region to connect to consumers in a safer environment, even when the cookies tend to fade away. So thank you. And yep.
Thank you, everyone. I hope I didn't
Thank you so much
with too much technology.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much, Corina and Manha. And I believe this section today have lots of very useful information that we were looking at, and also very interesting discussion with a lot of the excited questions from the delegate as well. So I believe for the next session we will come very soon that month or early April. So I look forward to welcome all of you again for the next session on the brand safety. So once again, stay healthy and safety. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much on the speakers again, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
We're taking a photo together. Just smile.
Thank you.
Yes, done. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye-bye.